As Ukraine struggles with mobilization efforts, it's turned to an unlikely source for fighters. Colombian mercenaries, 2,000 of them, in fact, according to figures inside the Ukrainian military. But with Bogota tightening laws on fighting abroad and US border security stretched thin, concerns are growing that the guns for hire may soon become a problem on American soil. Well, let's discuss this further with host of the Conservative Daily podcast, Joe Oltmann. Joe, great to see you.
Good to see you.
It is quite extraordinary, isn't it, when you break this down? We've got basically Latin American drug gang members, or linked to them at least, sent halfway across the world, or exactly halfway across the world, to Ukraine to fight Russians. What do we make of this?
Well, I think it's another one of those policy decisions or policy mistakes where the United States is backing the wrong player. These 2,000 mercenaries from Colombia that are cartel members are going not only to fight for Ukraine, but get intelligence, learn how to use drone technology, learn and get access to weaponry. And if we know anything about what has happened in the past with the Fast and the Furious program in the United States, where weaponry was provided to what ended up in the hands of cartel members that was then ultimately used against Americans. So this is, and right now tensions in South and Central America are pretty high against the United States. And so this is just going to fuel that fire so that we're not looking ahead to what is going to happen next when these cartel members come back with this technology and start using it against American interests. So this is a really big story. And it wasn't even on my radar until I got a phone call. And it's one that we should be paying attention to as Americans, because not only do I think we're riding the wrong horse in this and we should try to get to the table and try to come to a peace agreement, but secondarily, we're allowing Ukraine to do what Ukraine does, which is participate in what can only be described as demonic or evil behavior.
Just before we get to what impact it could have on the US, are these people simply being sent as cannon fodder? Is there anything else that they're going to be doing?
You know, there's no rules for cartels. I mean, cartels, the cartel members have learned to mow down their opposition, and use terroristic activity in order to silence people in the community. And so, and on one side, I hate to say it, but cannon fodder, fine. It's 2,000 less cartel members that we have to deal with in South and Central America that are funneling drugs and all sorts of other illegal activity like trafficking of women and children. It's 2,000 less people we have to deal with over here. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think this is a strategic decision. And in many cases, the governments of South and Central America are directly tied to or a part of these cartel networks. And so this intelligence and this information and even access to the weaponry that they can then bring back into Colombia and other parts of Central and South America are going to be problematic for the United States. So I think we have to look at it both ways.
And possibly the US, Joe, as well. That expertise could go north.
And it will go north. And that's one of the things that if you look back at the Obama era and the Fast and the Furious program with Eric Holder, we faced these same problems and the backlash that was created based on those weaponry that were provided by the U.S. government to cartel members in Mexico that made their way into the United States and were used to kill Americans. So we've seen this playbook before. We've seen this play out before. And the American people are mostly just, absolutely oblivious to the decisions that are being made. And frankly, I think President Trump needs to take notice of this type of behavior and the fact that Ukraine will. I mean, I just saw the section before about taking over the Anti-Corruption Bureau. It's Ukraine has become a bastion for all of the really bad people around the world to collect, and yet we put them on a pedestal. Many Americans put them on a pedestal and say we have to fight for Slava Ukraine, and I say that that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And this is just another one of those ridiculous things that we see coming out of this unfortunate conflict.
The Trump administration is in an active fight with Mexican, Latin American cartels. They're armed to the teeth, certainly not to be underestimated, and are well funded. When we talk about cocaine in Colombia, that's not a small market. So what is driving them to want to fight in Ukraine, or are they being sent against their will? What's your overall sense on that?
You have to look at the mentality of cartel members. It's not like they had an opportunity to go to a university and become a doctor or an engineer. This is the only life that they chose. And so in many cases, they thirst this act of violence, and they don't, if they're going to get paid for it, it's obviously fueled by the idea that it's been, they've created some sort of environment where it looks and acts like it's this revered environment. I mean, we do it in Hollywood too. We make them look like they're, big, tough, and rough guys. But in large part, I think the people that are going over to Ukraine has nothing to do with Ukraine itself. It has to do with the fact that they're going to get access to intelligence, they're going to get a seat at the table, and they get to kill people. And that's a bloodthirst that the cartels are very, very used to having.
Many of the guns for hire who arrived in Ukraine earlier have been reported missing. Their families are demanding clarification, compensation as well. What type of assurances or guarantees do you think Kiev is capable of providing to draw new recruits from Latin America? Or is this being organized in the West?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. We look at the influences like the CIA in not respecting the sovereignty of other nations. We can trace it all the way back to Ukraine, to the Maidan coup of 2014. I think most people around the world don't even understand the geopolitical aspects of what's gone on in Ukraine for the last, 15 years or so. That this is very much so a purposeful environment, much like some of the other environments that the U.S. Intelligence apparatus and Israeli intelligence apparatus, unfortunately, have gotten involved in. So I don't think that there's any assurances that Ukraine can give the families of those that went over from Colombia. I think that the Colombian cartel members that went over there, and although they might have a bloodthirst, will probably sold a bag of goods, and that there's a way to defeat Russia. And I think Russia just outnumbers, outguns, and out-resources, even with the help from the West, anything that could be done in Ukraine. So, again, this is why I get back to the fact that, that there's got to be Western influence. I don't think that President Trump is behind it. Frankly, I don't think that he has an appetite for the conflict that's happening between Ukraine and Russia. He just, I think the patience is wearing thin on how do you come up with a solution in a place that's been created such a complex set of environments. I actually don't think it's that difficult to get to the table and create a solution, but I don't think that the people around President Trump in some circles have the best interest of ending the conflict, because it's not profitable. It doesn't meet their interests.
Joe, food for thought as always when you were on the program. Thanks so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
Host
absolutely.
of the Conservative Daily podcast, Mr. Joe Oltmann.